information. Thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Coming up on Unfiltered, after that terrifying attack on a New York City subway, we're wondering when they say, remember, see something, say something. Well, what exactly does that mean? What are we expected to see and say something about? A former FBI agent who specializes in explosives and bombs is up next. Welcome back to Unfiltered. This week, a terrifying attack on the subway in New York City rocked the city. The suspected attacker, thankfully, is now behind bars, but that got me thinking. When law enforcement puts something out there like, see something, say something, well, what exactly does that mean? Here to answer that question is former FBI agent, homicides and explosives expert Steve Burmeister. Steve, thanks for spending some time with us here. You know, we hear that a lot, and I understand, you got to have something memorable. So see something, say something, it's easy to memorize. But Steve, what are we looking for? What are we supposed to see and say something about if we see something suspicious?
Yeah, it's a great question, and thank you for having me. One of the neat things is I'd love to have a crystal ball that I could look in and tell everybody these are the 10 things to look for. But unfortunately, most of these individuals assimilate well into the environment. You look at the Boston Marathon bombing incident. Those two individuals assimilated into the crowd, dropped their bags, and then departed out. Even take the Las Vegas shooter, Stephen Paddock. He was moving packages in and out of the casino undetected. Nobody asked any questions. The key here is having what is kind of an overused phrase, situational awareness, where we want to be cognizant of our surroundings. And I always say one of the things we're so caught up in our smartphones that we're not looking at our surroundings to take a look at what's happening all the way around. Close your eyes, for example, and understand where the exits are on your particular environment. Those are the little things to try to pick up what's happening in your world. Be vigilant, and that's the key thing.
Yeah, that's always great advice. Steve, you mentioned technology and smartphones, but there's a positive side to technology too. When I was in law enforcement, I know they were developing camera networks that can detect, say, a stationary package on a street that's in the wrong spot. Is that kind of happening with police departments around the country right now with this explosion in surveillance technology where they can see things that might have required eyeballs in decades past?
Yeah, artificial intelligence is being incorporated in many systems, but of course they're costly. They're very expensive systems, but with the advent and technology advancements with CCTV coverage, you're exactly right. If we can employ those things in stations, sidewalks, street corners, you can look for anomalies that are taking place. And I think that's the key there, where we're looking for anomalies that aren't necessarily there to begin with. This individual who entered the subway the other day, most people looked at the person. He's wearing a safety vest, a hard hat. It lowers everybody's guard, so they're kind of relaxed. But there's little key things. When I look at that video, I see perhaps he's wearing rubber gloves. Now, maybe in the pandemic, maybe that doesn't have anything, but rubber gloves, he's got a radio which isn't attached. There's no real insignia. So some things are out of place. He's pulling a very large bag. Those things seem to be out of place, and that's what artificial intelligence can key into and help law enforcement try to trigger into it. But otherwise, I look at a lot of this being assimilated into the crowd, and unless we're vigilant and we're aware of what things look out of place, this will continue, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, he's right. Steve, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Coming up on Unfiltered, inflation reaching another 40-year high. And who's paying for it? You. That's right, that guy. A can't miss monologue on Biden's lies about inflation and how he's destroying the middle class coming up next.